Hello everyone, and welcome to a tutorial video about witches. So I'm standing here on a very high block. This is block 182 that I'm standing on. And the reason I'm standing on it because I have found a witch hut which is mostly surrounded by water. This witch hut I found using the new version of Amidst, which shows witch huts. I also did find a couple of dual witch huts, but they are really rare, and I couldn't find any that had only water surrounding them. So just to keep my workload low, I'm using this one. And I looked for a triple witch hut, but I didn't find one within a radius of 100,000 blocks of 00. So triple witch hut, super rare. If you know of one, please comment on this video because I'd like to know if and where you found one. Anyway, so the way this is going to work is I've got my witch farm down there. You cannot see it very well. Yes, there it is, underneath those clouds. And it'll be spawning witches now and sending them to the nether, and then we're going to go fetch them. And I think before I started this video, I forgot to change something here. Yes, I did. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so we'll just stand here for another few minutes, or another few moments, to get some witches spawning in there, and then we can get back to the nether and I can show you what their drops are. I've got a few things here already, but I'm just going to show you my construction in the nether, and then I'm going to show you a video. The rest of the video is going to be me building a similar witch farm. So the way this one works is I've got, I'm getting that falling feeling. I've got witches on the top and bottom, and then this clock is pushing the platforms back and forth, and they tend to fall through. They don't always fall through, but they tend to fall through. And when they do, they get in the bottom there, and they go through a portal, which you can sort of see. There it is. You can see them going through there. They go through that portal into the nether. They kind of all get stuck in the portal at the nether. And then when we go into the nether, they kind of push out, and they will push out onto a 2x3 area, which I've rigged with pistons, as you saw before. And then I open up the pistons, and they fall to their deaths, which is a 30 block fall, because witches have 13 hearts, not the usual 10. So there they all are, and there they go. Still got a few waiting here for us. I'm going to wait while they fall down. Got to stay in range because when I go down there, their idle times will kick in and then they'll just have to despawn. So we wait for them to jump off. Come on, guys. Go. Go. How many we got left? 12, it looks like. Or is it 7? Looks like it's about 7. Okay, that's fine. And there's my drops. I've got... yes. I didn't mean to do that. These pistons here kind of just all keep the drops in one place. So that prevents the drops from just going absolutely everywhere. And then I just rigged up some pistons so that they... How do I get out of here? I think it's over... No. It's over here. So here you can see I've got pistons keeping the thing shut until I want to go and collect my loot. which is the way I would recommend you do it, because then the loot doesn't just go flying unless you're standing here. So I'm going to go to my other witch farm construction and show you a slightly more refined version of this. But first I will quickly go back and show you something which isn't in that other construction yet, which is the clock mechanism. So here we have a clock. This is about a 16-second timer that gives them a 1-tick pulse, as you can see, every approximately 16 seconds. And that tends to reduce lag on these platforms, because if a lot of things are moving at the same time, you can get a fair bit of lag. And these platforms are 9 by 7, so that's 63 blocks there and 63 there. So a total of 126 blocks being moved, including all the pistons being actuated as well. So it adds up. And I want as few light updates as possible, but I didn't achieve that particularly well with this design. But with the new design I did. So I will show you that just after I talk about this clock a little bit. This is the reset here. Every time this clock ticks, and then this piston is the reset. So when the output gets powered, then the piston gets powered from this area here. The signal is inverted, and then the piston retracts and it'll switch this line of locking repeaters off. Every time this clock ticks around, this line of locking repeaters increased by 1, as you can see. This is a design by someone I can't remember at the moment, but DocM talked about him. Oh no, I'm sorry, thtough. thtough mentioned this in one of his arena episodes. So when he was looking for a timer, so you can have a look at that episode, but also I will try to link it in the video description, the guy who actually came up with this thing. So that's how that works. And if you're wondering what all this other stuff is around, I've just been kind of playing around. This portal was originally like a very fast way to get up and down, so that I could just walk through the portal, walk through another portal and another, and then get out up there and backwards again, and it worked perfectly. But we can talk about portals another time. I'm going to show you the witch farm that I'm building. Okay, here we have the witch hut, which I've partially destroyed because this is actually the second time I'm making this video. Fraps kind of freaked out because I changed my hard drives around, so it didn't want to record even though it was set correctly, so I just had to reload Fraps. Anyway, these iron blocks here are the spawning spaces for the witches. They are the complete and total area where only witches can spawn. So right now, if I go up very, very high, then other things will spawn on top of this, but because we're going to get rid of that, the witches will only be able to spawn and nothing else. So I'm going to do that and add some other extra bits, and then I shall be back. Okay, I'm back. I have done a few extra things, and my frame rate is really low for some strange reason. Still updating chunks. Hopefully it'll improve very soon. Anyway, this is the repeaterless piston powering setup that I've come up with. I'm very pleased about it. So you can use it too if you want to, obviously, because I'm showing it to you and I'm not saying this is my design and no one else is allowed to use it. So go ahead and try it out. If you don't want light updates, right? This is preventing light updates happening in this area, which is going to help prevent lag, because as I said before, we're moving a lot of blocks. Now, as you can see, this platform is moved compared to this other one, and that's because this is powered, but there is another good reason for this. So what's happening here is we have This platform, I believe, is in the... yeah, this is... all the iron blocks is where witches can spawn, and these gold blocks is where other mobs can spawn. But because we're moving the platforms back and forwards, we want to have the maximum possible number of spawning spaces for witches all the time, because the amount of spawning space here is so low that if we prevent spawns everywhere else in this whole world, then even then the mob cap will not be reached. Even if we have every possible spawning space for witches. So I want to keep it as high as physically possible, and the way I'm doing it is I'm going to prevent spawns on these blocks by having glass above and by doing some other stuff to prevent spiders from spawning. And then I move them back and forwards, so when the pistons move, the witches fall through into an area under here, which is going to take them via water stream to the portal. This is the old design that I used before. It doesn't work very well. Well, it works fine, but this here is spawning safety, right, for this redstone here. But there's a problem with this because, well, it isn't such a big problem, but the point is that if you have it this way, you have to have 4, and if you have it this way, you only have to have 3, and those are impinging on the air blocks for these spawning spaces. And I checked the efficiency calculation. This side, the block with the lowest efficiency of them all, is this one right here. Once we get the rest of the spider safety, which is these glass blocks here, in fact, now I come to think about it, I think I've done the efficiency calculation wrong. But yeah, when I did it the wrong way, but a way that still tells us the information that we need to know, the efficiency of this block is lower than the efficiency of this block. When there are 3 there compared to 4, you know, I used those glass blocks as well on both sides. So when I tested them, the most efficient design is this way. So we want all about efficiency. We want the maximum possible number of spawns so that we don't waste any time. The other thing I did was to lower these blocks 1 block below, because it doesn't matter. These emerald blocks are there just blocking the wire. So as you can see, it connects like this if you don't have them there, but if you put something there, then they don't connect. And this is something I didn't know about ice, but ice makes it look as if they don't connect, but they actually still do connect. Let me just see if I can demonstrate that for you. It's very, very weird. If I just build an iron golem, I mean this thing. So you can see right now they're connected, and if I put that, they won't connect. So if I put a lever on here, this block powers that redstone, but that redstone doesn't power anything. So, but if I do that, then they will still connect. But if I put ice there, it looks as though it breaks it, but the signal still passes through. So I was going to be all cool and put ice here for all of them, but even though it works in terms of the visual effect, it doesn't actually work in terms of game mechanics. So iron blocks is the way to go, and I'm going to put this setup on all of the other sides, and I might empty out this bottom bit, and then I shall be back. Isn't iron just the most beautiful block you've ever seen? I love the way it looks, so white and bright. Fantastic. It's just too bad it's so hard to obtain in vanilla. Yeah, so I've done the wiring for the rest of it. Obviously we still have to connect this lot and the other lot to some sort of clock. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that. But you saw how the other one was connected. I might do something similar to that. Or I might come up with a better design I do, I will let you know, but if I don't, then I think that you can guess how it's going to be done. What I've got under here is a chamber where the witches get dropped into, and then they get sent out through that portal. So there's the portal. They get shaken around like a sieve on these platforms. They fall down, and then they get pushed into the portal, and they go into the Nether. And I showed you before what happens when they go into the Nether. They get stuck inside the portal. Then when we go into Nether, they'll kind of jump out into a 2x3 area. Then we have pistons that we open up and drop them 30 blocks. So that's pretty much all there is to it. Now we need the roof, of course. So I'm going to build that. Though of course I've already built it because I saved all the different stages of construction as different files so that I could make this video quickly once I got my computer back up into working order. But I'm going to show you the completed roof version and I'll be back then. Here we are, and as you can see, it's working quite well. There are some other monsters spawning as well. I think what's happening is that these blocks here, which are outside the normal witch hut, can be chosen as the center of a pack, and then the pack spawns somewhere within 5 blocks. So it'll actually spawn skeletons there as well. If I block these from being spawnable, then I can probably prevent that, but I'll also lower the chances of witches spawning. So basically I can choose more witches and some other mobs mixed in, or fewer witches and no other mobs. And I'm going with just a few other mobs mixed in as well. That spider, by the way, he spawned up here. He can't spawn over there, because that glass block and these stone blocks prevent any spider spawns on top of those blocks. But maybe a pack could still spawn. Not too sure about that. Anyway, it doesn't matter too much if spiders do spawn, because they won't clog up the system because of the way that I've set up the water. So let's go have a look at that. We go down here, we fly around inside the water, and we come up against a solid obsidian wall. How do we get in there? I have to go in this side. Okay. So I changed the walls to obsidian. That blocks the light from this portal, because the portal blocks have a light level of 11, and we don't want any light interfering with our spawn rates up above. So as the blocks are moving for, I don't know, what is it, like 2 ticks or something, there is light going into the farm, but mobs can't spawn on the blocks when they're moving anyway, so you may as well not worry about that. But when they're stationary, we do want them to have a light level of 0. So I've got my roof all done. This golden center bit, I don't know if you saw that, the gold center bit, that is the original witch hut's dimensions. So the witches come down here, they get pushed into the portal, and they go into the nether, like this. And I haven't set it up yet, but you know what it's going to look like. So let me just get out of here. Okay, so I haven't set up the clock yet, but you know how that works. And that's pretty much the whole thing. The other thing I wanted to show you was that if you have this gold block, say, would be the center of a block, would be the spawning place of a spider, for instance. So a spider can spawn on that block there. Actually, now I think about it, there shouldn't be any skeletons or zombies or creepers in that area. Maybe. No. Okay. I think the way I explained it before is correct. Because I think you can also get witches outside this hut bit. Like, if the center of a witch pack is there, then witches could spawn in this whole area. So you could actually increase the rates by having a bigger platform, but then you would also get more other mobs mixed in. And I think on the whole, you want as few of the mobs mixed in as possible, because the way that we're doing this is we're sending them to the nether and then killing them. So we have to have enough computing power on the server or on the computer that we're on to process the number of entities that are going to be dying all at the same time. So I tend to not leave it running for more than about 10 minutes, because that way I get about 300 entities, and that's more than enough for my computer. I haven't recorded with that, so it's probably even worse, but yeah, that's why it's always good to play on a server, because that way the server has to handle those computations and you're just a client. So suppose this were the center of, suppose this gold block were where a spider would be spawning. He has a total horizontal size of 2 by 2. So he needs 2 blocks this way and 2 blocks this way. So there's one that way and one that way. He starts in the center there, so the first block that he needs is up to the center of that block, and then up to the center of that block, and that block, and that block, and of course the center corner of this one, and the center of that one. So if we place a block there, a spider can no longer spawn on this gold block. Anything with a collision mask will do. A repeater, one of these, full block, anything like that. So a spider can no longer spawn here. But I think it's possible that he might still be able to spawn there. I'm not totally certain about that, but I've seen some strange behavior. Strange lag all of a sudden. Got a good number of witches in here. Look at that. Okay, so the witches are in here because I was standing up above. So let me just clear them out and I'll show you how quickly they show up. So clearly almost nothing's going to spawn there right now because 1, I'm too close, and 2, there are loads and loads of caves under here, none of which I've lit up because I'm lazy. But if we go up like this to about Y190, then we'll see really high spawn rates. You can see the entity count is already below what you'd expect it, and it's like constantly trying to spawn mobs and then they're instantly despawning. But in the meantime, we're still getting information about those mobs. So they're spawning, despawning, spawning, despawning all the time. Wow, this is super laggy. What is going on? Never had this before. Maybe it's the hard drive that I'm recording onto. Yeah, I don't have Optifine on here as well, so no fixes for those weird stuff. Anyway, we should have enough witches there now to show you what it means to have witches. So let's get rid of this stuff. Loads of witches and some other stuff. So we can prevent the spider spawns, I think, by putting some extra glass around here. But in the meantime, we've got loads of witches and a couple of other things, and they will drop down, go into the portal and send to the nether, and then we'll drop them, and then they die, and we can pick up tons of cool items. Okay, I've more or less completed the farm now. This is my first 5-minute test of the witch farm. So I've got a piston clock down there. Thank you, Rain. I've got a piston clock going down there. The old clock design was really, really large and kind of used up a lot of resources, so I used a piston type design instead, which I think is a lot better, and it's 5 minutes now. So we got a ton of witches here. I see 184 entities if I look there. So let's drop them. Bam. See you later, guys. Adios, amigos. Now these guys hopefully will just drop off. Let's try to push them a bit. Go. Go. Fall off. Fly, my beauties, fly. Let's get rid of that. How many are left there actually? 12. Oops. Okay, so let's see what kind of drops we can expect to see from a 5-minute test. Lock it back up so I don't forget next time, and safety drop. Oh yeah, lovely, lovely loot. Let's go get it. And we have got a lot less than last time. Why is that? That was a 5-minute test? Yeah, it was. Oh, it's not a lot less. I'm thinking of a 10-minute test. Okay, so these vines, man, how do you stop them from growing just everywhere they want to? Can you guys help me out with that? I mean, I put buttons everywhere and then they start growing down here. I can't think of what I might put there that prevent them from growing. Anyways, so we can see we got an average of... let's see. Do some calculations. Grab the calculator. So it's 36 plus 39 plus 53 plus 40 plus 41 plus 45 plus 64 is 318, and we need to divide that by 1, 2... Oh, I missed the redstone. Plus 43. 361. So we need to divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 36 over 8 is 9. Sorry, is 4.5. So it's an average of 45 of each type of item and 90 sticks for every 5 minutes. So that's about 3/4 of a stack. So if you go for 10 minutes, you should get 1.5 stacks. So that's really not too bad at all. You can make it faster, but I think that this is a nice design. I like it because it's one that I worked on with development. I prefer to just work out some of my own ideas. I don't just like to use everyone else's exactly the way that they did it. Although the first time I ever made a mob trap, I used a design by what was his name now? Forgot to put safety. I used a design by Casper's MC. Yes, Casper's MC. I used his XP farm design. That was the first mob trap I ever built, and it used no redstone because I was afraid of redstone in those years, or those months ago. Here's my piston clock. I'll quickly show you how this works. So I can get rid of some of these blocks. Very, very simple. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let me put some blocks back anyway. Iron and half slab. Okay, so the way that this works is we got 2 gold blocks there, and they are able to transmit power. We have a redstone torch in there, constantly powering a repeater over there, which is powering whatever block is in front of it. So if it's a gold block, then it'll transmit power to this repeater, and if there's another gold block at the other side, then it'll transmit the power, and we'll get all the way across. Let me just get rid of these mobs. It's kind of annoying. So they'll transmit power all the way across. In here there is a single pulse, single tick pulse producer. I have to destroy some more to show you. There you go. That's it working. And I've put half slabs and blocks everywhere to prevent light updates. So that is the purpose of having a block there and there and there and there, and having half slabs there, 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 there. That seals it all up, makes sure that there's no light updates as a result of these repeaters. These cross-shaped things are also repeaters, as you can see. And again, the only blocks that are getting light updates is this block that the repeater is in. So I quite like this little design innovation. I've never seen it before. Probably because no one's ever been as pathological about getting no light into the system as me. But I think it's a decent innovation. It extends the normal redstone function by 2 blocks. So normally if you want to pass power long distances, you have to do a repeater every 16 blocks. So 15 blocks redstone, and then the 16th block a repeater, and then another 15 redstone dust, and so on. But this, of course, the repeater will suck the power out of that block, and it'll hot power that block, so that block will power the redstone wire. So you actually only need to have a repeater every 18 blocks, effectively. Okay, so that's what all of this is, and it goes sideways, of course. And as you can see, I got rid of these gold blocks. I figured they were just a pointless addition because I decided that instead of powering these 2 sides separately, I would have them both fire one after the other, because I think there's a greater chance of the witches falling all the way through if that happens from the top. So given that, these blocks weren't going to be spawnable anyway, so I just made them glass so that they wouldn't invite anything to spawn there while we didn't want it to. Okay, the reason I didn't cover this up was because I figured it was pretty much spawn proof, because there are no air blocks anywhere nearby for these so that mobs can spawn, except there are air blocks in there. So if I were to put, for example, signs underneath the whole thing, then nothing would be able to spawn there because there are simply no air blocks. Even though it's a spawnable space, unless there's an air block on the same Y coordinate, nothing can spawn there. Totally spawn proof if I put signs there. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. I've really enjoyed building this, actually. I think it has its attractions. If you want to use this design, this piston design I saw on Kedra84's channel. He's got some really sweet ideas. And yeah, so he's really worth checking out if you want to add someone to your list of people that you're subscribed to. Really worthwhile checking him out. The idea of having them floating into the portal, well, he used that as well, but I think that ultimately the first time I ever saw that was on Doc M's Witch Farm prototype video, which was the first Witch Farm video I ever saw, and it confused me at the time, but I understand everything now. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. This piston tape, I got, I don't know if some of you have seen Seth Bling's redstone challenge map. There was a piston tape on there, and I'd never seen one before. I knew they existed, but I'd never seen one, so I kind of had to learn as I went along there how they work. But it's very straightforward, you know. You just have pistons, one there, one there, one one there, and then they fire alternately and they push blocks around, and then you have some obsidian so that they don't accidentally push a block too far, and that's all there is to it, really. Yeah. So, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I've certainly enjoyed making it, even though it's taken a while, and it took me a while to finish and just polish this up. So, if you liked this video, please give me a like, maybe subscribe to me if you find other stuff interesting that I've put up so far, and I'm going to keep trying to put up decent videos, hopefully stuff that people are interested in, and keep developing, trying to keep my mind sharp, and yeah. Oh yeah, the one thing I did want to talk to you about is the portals, because I think a lot of people are afraid of portals. As you can see, the way I've rigged it up is that the portal I come out of is this one, and the portal the witches come out of is this one. Now, how is it possible that they are only a few blocks apart, whereas the portals in the overworld are really, really far apart? Well, this is the way it works. This portal here is this portal here is as high as it possibly can be in the nether. As you can see, there's bedrock here. So in survival, this is as high as I would possibly be able to put it. There are some slightly higher pieces, but this was where I needed to put it because of the X and Z coordinate. So this was as high as I could put that one, which is Y 120, which means this one would be lower, Y 119. Okay, so this one's Y location, we just don't worry about the X and Z at the moment. They are just simply done by dividing the overworld coordinates by 8. But the Y coordinate is the one we're really interested in. So, because that's where I implemented this. I never seem to be able to get the double jump. This portal over here is over. Where is it? No, it's on the other side, of course. Here it is. And its Y coordinate, the bottom portal blocks, are at Y59. So if you think about it, going from Y59 to Y119 is exactly 60 blocks up. So the distance in Y of this portal's blocks from the nether portal's blocks is exactly 60 blocks, which means that I can have this portal be 60 blocks above the second portal, and they will be both precisely the same distance from their respective portals that I want them to go out of, and they will be further from the other portal, because the other portal is either lower by 1 block or up by 1 block, and also over a couple of blocks, but they don't really matter too much. Which means that this portal always links to the upper portal, and this portal always links to the lower portal. As you can see, my Y coordinate here is 120, so I can go 60 blocks up to 180. If you're watching the Y coordinate there, it goes from 60 to from 120 to 180. So that's really all there is to it. It's very simple, or quite straightforward once you understand it. I did a little bit of experimentation to get this right, but I'm pleased that I got it right, and it's a useful feature. It's good for traveling large vertical distances. So don't be afraid of portals, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say for now. Palladium PD, and I'm signing out.